Was I scared? Hell no, man. I knew that bitch wasn't gonna cut me. She was just doing that shit to try to spook me. But it's alright though, cause I ain't new to this, I'm true to this. What's up, bro? I look fresh with Rizzo though?
Yeah, you missing one thing though. Where the machete at?
That shit right here.
Hey, what you told him to get him, keep that nigga hand.
Oh,
I
hell
don't
no.
even know you niggas anyway.
God.
Hold down, man. Suitcase this. My cell phone and my charger don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see you ass, you gon' leave airlifted.
What's up, y'all? You already know, man. Kfrogtv back in the building. Want y'all to do me that solid favor. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button. And make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. Make sure your bell is also placed on all and not personalized. Therefore, you will get notified of all uploads rather than just some. You feel me? Anyways, for this video here, I'm going to be breaking down and speaking on my experience from when I was incarcerated down here in the state of Florida. All right? And this video right here, y'all probably heard bits and pieces of it in prior videos. But I'm going to give y'all the specific breakdown. And this is going to be the topic. I'm going to let y'all know how it went down when a female officer put a machete to my throat. Now, I know what y'all probably thinking, like, bullshit. Okay, I'm letting y'all know this shit's 100% legit, and y'all gonna understand when I break it down and I paint this picture in your mind. For those that don't know, Kfrogtv was started before I went to prison, okay? On Instagram. I started Kfrogtv on Instagram before I went to prison, back when you could only put like a, what was it, a 10 or 12 second video on Instagram. So while I was incarcerated, as y'all seen with my prison footage, you know, I did Kfrogtv. I kept it going. You know what I'm saying? I literally would record shit and, you know, and I would do what I got to do for my footage and shit like that. And, you know, I planned to put it all on YouTube like it is today. Now, for those that also don't know, I got shipped from Charlotte, CI for Kfrogtv. All right? They gave me 200 something days in the box. They charged me with possession of a cell phone and possession of a 11.5-inch knife. That's what they used to get me off the compound. They ran my DRs consecutive instead of concurrent, and they ended up, like I said, giving me 200 something days. They rode me out in the box the whole time, and then they transferred me. This right here all falls on the day that I got, you know, taken in the confinement for Kfrogtv. I had just got to like 100 days to when I was gonna EOS, which means end of sentence. My sentence was ending in less than 100 days, and I've never had gotten my sentence that low. I'd always found myself in confinement. As soon as I start getting excited, bro, that I'm about to hit double digits, I always found myself in the box, literally. So once I got to like 100 days, bitch, tomorrow's 99 days, boy, I'm in double digits, man. I'm finna go to the house in less than 100 days. So I'd always, somehow trouble would find me or I'd find trouble. So they ended up, you know, taking me to confinement. They ran down on me due to a photo that they seen online. The gang sergeant got this photo forwarded to them by someone on the streets, all right? Which is the photo that, you know, I have in my thumbnail. It's also right here. Now, do you know how that feels to get set up and go to confinement because someone on the streets called in and told on you? Someone on the streets emailed the gang sergeant the photo of me? You know, all this shit was in my, you know, my DR and everything. So once they got the photo, you know, they came, they ran down on me. I was in transition. Transition's where you go when you're about to go home. You know, usually when you have less than 100 days, you know, they'll start putting you in transition. That's where they get all your paperwork right. Anything you may need, whether it's an ID, social security card, find a place to live, whatever it is, they'll try to get it all in order for you. So that way you don't land out in these streets head first and don't know how to swim, you know? So the gang sergeant and them, they get a hold of this photo. So they run down on me, boom, they take me to confinement. Before they take me to confinement, they put me in handcuffs and they walk me to the captain's office, all right? While I'm in the captain's office, there is a female officer, which I won't put her name out there, you know, but there's a female officer standing right there next to the captain with a brown paper bag over her head. And what she is standing there with is the machete that they charged me with in her hand. She's standing right there, and on my way to confinement, they yelled to the gang sergeant who was transporting me. You know, he was escorting me to the box. They called him over the intercom and said, "Did you find Jason Voorhees?" And he's like, "Who?" They're like, "Jason Voorhees, the one with the machete." And he's like, starts laughing. He's like, "Yeah, I got him." As we were walking past the school building. You feel me? I was in handcuffs. You know, he was escorting me. But instead of bringing me straight to confinement, he brought me to the captain's office. I walk in the captain's office. Captain's got the computer turned around. And on the computer, he's got a picture of Jason, like his mask. And then he's got her standing right next to him with a brown paper bag over her head with my machete in her hand. You know? I walk in there and I ain't even really pay attention to, you know what I'm saying, the shit he was saying, because I was like, look at this goofy ass bitch. You feel me? And this female officer, I'm going to give you a little background on her first. You feel me? She was a real shit eater. All right? She was a real piece of shit officer. She literally was so grimy, and she was like the ugliest bitch I ever seen that work there. You know, people thought she had scoliosis and shit, the way she walked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. But she was just real foul. You know, like she'd come in the dorm and she'd look at people, or she'd see you walking across the compound and she'd look at you and she would just think of some shit to do to you to put you in confinement. She walked around like her shit ain't stink, but literally that bitch was musky 24/7, boy, she stunk, you know? And she was the true definition of a piece of shit officer that they had employed, all right? Now, it's one thing if you're disobeying or you're not following the instructions. You feel me? But this female officer, I guess because nobody wanted her, or, you know, she had a problem with love life, and who knows what it was. Probably never had a love life. Who knows? If you seen her, you would understand. But she went out of her way to harm inmates. And they fought around and made her security 9, which is the ones that get the key, that run the compound anytime they're going to go do a shakedown, or if they need something's going down in a dorm. Security 9 is the one that runs back and forth from one side to another. Once they gave her that security 9 position, she literally felt like she was the shit. That one, she was literally acting like she was above captains. You feel me? And I literally swear, out of 85% of the bullshit I seen officers do to inmates, she was there. She had parts in it. Okay? So let's go ahead and get into it a little more. So when they bring me into the captain's office, like I said, I was looking at her like, this bitch here thinks she's, like, you could clearly tell who it is. You understand? Because they run in packs. When you see this officer, and this officer, these 3 together every single day for like 8 months together, then you know, if you see one walking across the compound, then you know, okay, where's the other one at? You know, we're on shifts together. So I already knew who it was when she had the bag on. So the white shirt asks me, "Oh, Kfrog. Kfrogtv, huh? What, you think you're someone special? You think you're a superstar?" And I was just standing there with my hands cuffed behind my back like that. And he goes, "Where'd you get the cell phones at?" Because clearly the photo that he was using against me, you could see I have a knife and a phone, and another phone obviously took the picture, right? So clearly shows I have more than one phone. So me, this is when she decides to put the knife to my throat. I say, "Oh man, that ain't real. That's photo crop." That's what I said. And she takes the thing off of her head, and she goes, "It's called Photoshop, you illiterate motherfucker." And she grabbed me and put my knife up to my throat and walked me backwards into the glass window. You feel me? And she had the knife to my throat. "You illiterate fuck. You think you can have a TV show here? You think you can have a TV show here and we don't know about it?" This is the shit she was saying to me. But at the same time, as you know, my back was leaned like this, and she put the knife in my throat. My dorm was walking the child. So when my dorm was walking the child, they were all like, "Hey, Miss such and such, why you putting a knife on Kfrog? Why you put..." And she grabbed the knife and put it down and turned around and walked back towards the captain. Then all my, not all of them, but majority of the people in my dorm were like, "Frog, put us on that witness list. Put us on that witness list." Because anytime you go to confinement for a DR, you have the right to put people down as witnesses to show you didn't do it, to prove your innocence. So even though I wasn't going to confinement for the situation with the female officer, I could still put them as witnesses. And then when the other DR officer comes there to ask me what happened or whatever and shit like that. When she goes to the dorm to individually ask them what happened and they put their statement, I'll have a whole bunch of people saying how she put the knife to my throat. You get what I'm saying? Because in the chain gang, it's not always inmate against inmate. There's way more beef between inmates and officers. You get what I'm saying? Because the officers are the biggest gang inside a prison and they get away with anything. Literally. Just think about it. They catch an inmate with cell phones, they catch an inmate with tobacco, they catch an inmate with anything, they're going to put you in confinement, punish you for it, and they'll even hit you with an ad charge if they feel like it. But if they catch an officer bringing that shit in for inmates, all they're going to do is make them re-sign or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's it. Put them on leave, suspend them, or take their career from them. You feel me? It isn't as bad as we're doing time for it, you know? So, once she put the machete in my throat, and everyone's seen it, and she peeped that, she went back towards the captain's office, like I said. They ended up taking me and bringing me to confinement. While they were bringing me to confinement, you know, I had one officer transport me on this side, one officer on this side, and the officer next to me, they used to call him New Watch. You feel me? And what it was is every time you seen him, he had a new watch. And the reason for that is he liked to bust his watch on inmates' heads. Like, he'd break his watch every time trying to handle inmates. So when he was transporting me, people were yelling out the window, "Damn, Frog, what happened, what happened?" So I keep my mouth closed. They're like, "Oh, Kfrog here had a TV show. He got caught with a machete and a phone." So I said, "Damn, that's crazy." So I looked back down at the officer and I said, "Oh, New Watch, I like your watch." He's like, "Yeah, man, you know, I'm just waiting to bust it over one of y'all's fucking heads." You feel me? That's what he said. Real piece of shit officer also. So they put me in confinement. While I'm in confinement, I'm back there, you know, anything that takes place on the compound or on the rec yard in confinement, anything like that, them officers were coming and flipping my dorm 24/7. Flipping my cell back to back non-stop. They didn't want to hear it. Every 3 days, the gang sergeant was coming there, opening my light with the screwdrivers, flipping my whole cell, you know, really trying to see if I had some other shit. And it was to the point to where when people would, you know, have riots with the officers or standoffs with the cops, everyone would start screaming Kfrogtv. And that same female officer was out there one day because I was on the window talking to all my dogs at rec when the incident occurred. You feel me? If y'all remember, I did a video not that long ago about my homeboy Sosa that caught more time because the officers, you know, put a charge on him for him knocking out the officer's tooth and all this other shit. Well, that same specific day, when everyone was yelling Kfrogtv, that same female officer, because I seen them all, she was like, "Stop, stop. There could be someone recording on these windows." That's exactly what she said. You feel me? She was a real slimy ass female officer that got away with too much, you know? And they thought I was recording because I was in confinement for Kfrogtv. You know, I ended up getting transferred from there, got sent to DeSoto Annex is where I, you know, ended up getting released from, you feel me? But first I had to go to South Florida Reception Center, you know, stay in the box there for about a week. And then when I finally hit DeSoto, they put me back on the compound. After a 200-something day stretch, I was finally free back to where I can wheel and deal and do what I gotta do, you know, to enjoy my time. Now, for those that don't know, prison has its ups and downs, okay? You got, some days will be harder than the others, some days will be easier. The officers make your time way harder than the other inmates do. You could get in fights, you can get in brawls, you can get in fucking knife altercations, you can get jumped, you can get hit with locks, whatever it is. But no matter what it is that happens or that is able to happen to you by another inmate, don't ever let it slip your mind. And don't forget that the officers can always do it worse to you, okay? They have myths of inmates disappearing. You know, you getting on a certain bus and they saying that they're taking you to drop you off and then the bus comes back empty. You're never heard of or found again. You know, like there's things that go on like that. We've had officers down here in the state of Florida, I did a video on not that long ago, that got arrested, that were planning on plotting and killing an inmate the day he got released. They were gonna bring him like they dropped him off at the train station because you're their property until they decide to drop you off. You know, until you get on that bus, you're their property unless you have someone coming to pick you up. But if y'all remember the video I did not that long ago, these 3 dudes were part of the Ku Klux Klan and they got arrested because they were planning on killing this black inmate the day he got arrested. They were gonna stage it as if he drowned. They were gonna put some alcohol right there and shoot him up with insulin and push him headfirst in the water. You feel me? After, you know, and there ended up being a confidential informant that was involved in it all, and they found it out and shit like that. I did a video on it not that long ago. These officers get away with way more than inmates actually do, you know? And due to the fact that we're inmates, we're convicts, the government looks this way when it comes to their officers or their employments. But they be so quick to study us and act like we're the wrong ones and drill us and always, you know, make us look bad. And not once do they ever think that an inmate has a right reason to do what they do. When these officers get hit in they shit sometimes by these inmates, that don't mean just because he's an inmate that he's guilty for it. He shouldn't be doing it. Or because that dude works for the state, he shouldn't be got his hands put on him. No one should have touched him because he worked for the government or the state or whatever it is. But that ain't the case. When you're in here and you got officers doing fuck ass shit like that female officer did to me, it's kind of hard not to do nothing. If you grew up in a lifestyle, man, you know, like me, to where you're real hands on, and if someone tries you, you know what I'm saying, you act out of anger or whatever it is, it's kind of hard to just let that shit go just because this person's wearing a different color shirt than you are. Just because they're wearing brown or gray or white, you feel me, and I'm wearing baby blue at the time, I'm supposed to just let that shit slide? Like, no. It's kind of hard to let that shit slide, you feel me? And inmates get punished all the time. Officers beat inmates' asses several times before an inmate probably even reacts or even decides to get his get-backs. You know? You got to think of how many times and how many situations are swept under the rug by fuck-ass officers like that female officer. You know? And, you know, a myth went around, a rumor, that I was fucking that female officer. You feel me? So, real piece of shit. You get what I'm saying? And I'll never forget, because when she put the knife to my neck and shit and I turned like this or whatever, in my mind I was just thinking like, am I really going through this shit right now? Like, is this bitch really got my own machete to my neck right now? You feel me? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, what makes that woman think she had the right to do that shit? I don't give a damn if I got caught with 10 knives and 10 cell phones. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have the right to do that. Literally, what's the difference for me and her? Because I'm in custody? Because I belong to the state of Florida? Because I was sentenced, you know, 5 years to Florida State Prison? So does that mean since I belong to the state, I'm their property, I'm the property of the state, that they're allowed to do me any kind of way like that? Because I'm pretty sure it don't mean that. I'm pretty sure that that is wrong just as if I put a knife to someone's throat, right? Or is it just because I'm an inmate, my life don't mean shit? I already broke the rules and broke the law, so whatever I get out of that, you know what I'm saying, that happens to me after I broke the law, then it's free game, I guess, right? Nah, I don't think so. You get what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm like, this bitch pulled my own knife on me, bro. Like, what kind of green ass shit is that? You feel me? On the streets, I want to let no one pull no knife on me, put no damn knife to my fucking throat. You feel me? But they take their authority and they abuse it. You know, they try to make it to where they can get away with whatever. Because like I said, the law is going to side with someone that works for the law before they side for someone who breaks it. You know? And I could have been green. I could have been, you know, one of them inmates that was like, man, I'm going to write a grievance. Because you have inmates in there that write grievances about everything. Me, I wasn't like that. I never wrote a grievance. One time I wrote an appeal, trying to appeal DRs. Other than that, I never wrote a grievance before. I lied. I'll take that back. I wrote a grievance one time. They bucked me on my game time. You feel me? They were bucking people on their game time. And the only way for us to get it fixed is we had to write a grievance. To show that it shows on our paper that we did get the 10 days, but our date didn't move up 10 days. So our classification officer told all of us that was on his classification team, he told all of us to write a grievance. So that's the only time I wrote a grievance, you know? But at the same time now, what if that female officer wanted to like flatline me? What if she wanted to kill me? She would have got away with it, right? What if they didn't want to release me? Like, what if they wanted to, like, hide me for good because they didn't want Kfrogtv to blow up out here? They didn't want Kfrogtv to hit the motherfucking YouTube industry, you know? Because if that shit would have got put on YouTube while I was in prison, they would have killed me. I wouldn't even have been here right now talking to y'all. Something would have happened to me while I was in there. Even it could have been inmates. But it could have been the guards putting them inmates on me. It could have been the guards telling them inmates lies. It could have been them guards paying them inmates. It could have been them guards letting them inmates do whatever they do, favor for a favor. You know, whatever it may be. Like, okay, you go wet this white boy up. His name's Kfrog. This and that, da-da-da-da. You go wet him up. We'll get your 3 brothers out of here, and we want to transfer them. We'll get them out of the box, put them back on the compound. You know, they'll do a swap for a swap. You feel me? That's why I didn't post my footage while I was in custody, while I was incarcerated. I waited until I got out because I knew they would try to get me killed before I came home from prison. I also want y'all to know that I literally did time in confinement for the prison footage that I show y'all. The stuff that you see here on this channel or the stuff that you've seen of me inside of prison, I literally did time in the box for those videos, okay? That's the only way I wasn't charged with nothing on the streets because it would have been double jeopardy. They had a time limit to convict me or time limit to even charge me on these type of things, you understand? And I sat in the box 200 and something days just for the same footage that y'all enjoy so much, all right? Shit hit the news and everything. All you got to do is go on Google and type in Florida inmate with machete. And you're going to see where I pop up on the news, and you're going to see how they put it on the news to make me look like a bad guy. You feel me? That's all you got to do, though. When it comes to going to confinement with social media, I've been to the box for Snapchat, Pandora, fucking Pandora, bro, the music app, Instagram, and Facebook. You feel me? Pandora, I'll never forget, bro, the officer was walking through the dorm, bro, my phone went off, bro, and Rich Homie Quan, some type of way went off. Straight up, because I accidentally pressed it. That shit went off. And he looked over and he's like, oh, I know that ain't an MP player. They searched me, found it. Boom. Investigation. Didn't even charge me with the phone. I got blessed on that one, even though they found the phone red-handed. You know? But it's a dangerous world inside of prison. And this is what people don't understand. People, you know, some people look at it like, okay, he's got prison footage, so what? Y'all don't know how delicate and for me to be alive still due to this prison footage. Y'all don't understand like how important this prison footage is. To the government, to the state of Florida, it's the end of the world. They feel like I made their whole system look like a joke, that I played their system the whole time. When really, that ain't what my idea was. You know, my idea was just to record my bid, have fun, hang out, and I wanted some proof and some videos and shit from when I was in prison. Because if my intentions was to get all the fuck shit on camera, then I'd have way more than I still have. I would have had so many officers beating inmates, so many people wetting each other up, people hitting each other with locks, riots going down, buck 50s. I would have had way more than I still have that I haven't put out. You see? But that wasn't my intentions. My intentions wasn't to do that. You know, my intentions was to have my own portfolio of my bid. I looked around and seen everybody in this motherfucker, a couple people with phones, but no one's doing it. So I wanted to be different, and I did. But just imagine if I would have had the video of that female officer putting that damn knife to my throat. Right? Wouldn't that be crazy? If I would have had that shit, then what? That shit would have hit the news, went viral. She would have been on all types of trouble and shit. And then guess what? They would have been like, man, Kfrog is snitch. He is snitch, bro. He snitched on that woman. But really, nah, I was just recording my bid, really. That bitch, I ain't no one tell that bitch to do it on camera. You feel me? Right? Right or wrong? You know? Because I know for a fact, if a civilian or a convict or anyone else, anyone in the world, anyone watching this video were to pull a knife on someone and put it up to their throat, your ass gonna get the hammer. You gonna get time, you gonna get real deal, like, boy, you broke the law, you committed crimes, and you got people that work inside the system that bully people for breaking the law, but by bullying them, they're breaking the law themselves. And that shit'll never end. You feel me? Like I said, I won't put the female's name out there. That's one thing I'm not gonna do, you know? But I am gonna tell the story because it's part of my bid experience, and I'll never forget it. And it was the time that I got caught for Kfrogtv and got transferred behind the same footage that so many people love to see. So, you know, it's all like a cycle. It's like, I gotta break it down and let y'all know. You feel me? I get nothing but that real spill. You see what I'm saying? And people get hit with knives all the time in prison. I'm talking about like physically, and they get set up with knives. These officers, bro, they get away with so much shit, bro. You'd be shocked. You want to know unless you've been to prison. You feel me? The corruption that goes on in prison is worse than the violence amongst inmates. Believe it or not. It may not look like it, but that's how it's presented and that's how it's meant to look. It's meant to look like the inmate's violence is up to the roof. And there's a little bit of corruption because that's just the corruption that accidentally slipped. You feel me? And was brought to the surface. But the whole goal with their corruption is to keep that shit on the down low. They don't want that shit to hit. You feel me? Instead, they'll let the violence hit so that way anytime it's an officer and inmate altercation that does go viral, off rip, so many people are looking to side with the officer because that's an inmate and they know of the inmate violence. You see what I'm saying? But for my personal prison experience, that shit ain't all what it seems. It ain't as spooky and as scary as you may think it is for someone who may be looking at some time. Like I said, it has its ups and its downs. You know, some days you go in there, bro, and you're miserable as hell, and it just hits you, and you're like, bro, this shit sucks, dog. Some days are violent more than the others. Some days fly by like this. Everyone's shit gonna be a different roller coaster. You get what I'm saying? It's all on how you do your time. Anybody can make it through prison. I'm not special. Straight up. Any of these other YouTube channels, man, they ain't special. Man, there was millions of people that made it through prison before any of us. And there's going to be millions of people that make it through prison after us. You see what I'm saying? That shit is just something you got to do in life if you go down that wrong path. You know? But at the same time, when you do go to prison, you better keep your eyes open, man, and watch for them officers. Because a lot of shit that happens to people comes from them officers. Literally. Take it from me. I had a fucking machete pulled on me. My own machete that they took me to confinement for. And then the gang sergeant kept it. Said it was the prettiest knife he ever seen throughout his whole career. And he kept it himself. But in my paperwork, it says that he disposed of the knife the right way. That's what he said in the paperwork. You feel me? He wrote that he disposed of the knife. The properly disposal of the knife was taking place and all that, which was a lie. He had that shit stabbed into the damn desk. So when people come in there, it was on display. That bitch had such a pretty handle wrapped around it with a sheet and all that. And he said that was the prettiest knife he ever had. So this is a story to let y'all know how I was war ready. I had a knife, had knives. I had a machete, ready to cut a bitch arm off if I had to. But that same machete that was mine to use, whether I got into it with an inmate or whether for protection if some people tried to rob me or whatever it is, my same knife was turned against me by an officer. A female officer at that. Bitch who thought her shit ain't stank. Feel me? And this is just a story that I felt like sharing with y'all. And this shit took place down here in the state of Florida. If y'all been riding with me for a minute, then y'all have heard these bits and pieces before. Y'all have heard about this shit before in prior videos. Before I was breaking videos down individually, I was just telling the stories and I was just throwing all the shit in there. Now I'll be breaking down solo videos for y'all so y'all can get a better piece and understanding at what took place on that day. You feel me? And I'll never forget it. As soon as I see my peoples at Vizzo, I told my peoples, hey man, you know, after I did my whole box bid, I told them I couldn't wait to tell my peoples. I couldn't wait to tell someone, like to let my peoples know what this bitch did. You know what I'm saying? And of course I wasn't going to write it in my mail because then they'd get a hold of it, they'd see, and then, you know, probably put a hold on my mail, come back there, jump me, beat my ass, or whatever it is. You feel me? So I waited till I got my Vizzo, and I told my people at Vizzo, I said, man, you know when I was at Charlotte CI, man, this bitch, Miss Such and Such, you feel me? When they took me to confinement for Kfrogtv, my old girl was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I've heard of her before. I said, man, you know that bitch put a machete to my neck, Mom. She said, what do you mean? I said, man, the same knife that they booked me for, that I sat in the box for, she put that shit to my throat in front of my whole dorm. You feel me? And me keeping it 100. I ain't even put no one down as a witness when it came time for my DR court. When they came to bring me my DRs, I ain't even put no one down as a witness. When my whole dorm said, man, put me as a witness. I ain't even do nothing. I put no witnesses. You feel me? I ate that shit. I took it and rode, bro. That's all I could do. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's fucked up because that female officer ain't know me. She didn't know me personally. And I said this before, man, I'm cool peoples. So for someone not to like me and someone like to have hate towards me or want to harm me when you don't know me, then that just means you ain't shit. Because I'm not bad peoples. I'm good peoples, you know? So I could see if we had prior beef or if, you know what I'm saying? Or if she like, I gave her a hard time. But what it was is she hated the fact that I did what I wanted to do. I was a somebody. I was known around the compound. I walked around and had no problems with people. She used to love when white boys would get beat up by black dudes or Spanish dudes. You feel me? And that shit wasn't with me. I fit in with them all. I'm walking around vibing with all different races. That was just me because I'm Frog. You know, I have a cool vibe that can, it don't matter what gang you ass in. As long as you ain't a chomo or a rat bitch, we can vibe. Straight up, that's how I rock. You know what I'm saying? And this bitch just had it out for anybody. It ain't like she was purposely at me. So what it was is she just had that hate and that anger towards anybody that was a convict. You feel me? And word on the pound was her baby daddy, that she had a baby. And her baby daddy was a prisoner. Like the dude like broke her heart or some shit like that. And he went to prison or some shit. And then ever since then, she just took it out on all inmates. Because she had hate towards him. You know? And here I got a damn knife put to my throat behind this shit. You feel me? But it was just mind-blowing, y'all. Like I said, I was looking at the shit like, man, am I really going through this shit right now? Like, is this bitch smoking or something? Like, is this bitch high right now, bro? She gotta be, bro. This hoe is bugging. You feel me? And there was nothing I could do about it. I had my hands behind my back in handcuffs. Had two other officers standing right here. New Watch and one of the other dudes had the white shirt sitting right there. They were waiting for me to try anything or do anything or say anything. And, of course, I just kept my chin up, bro, and I ate that shit. You know? But anyways, I felt like I shared the story with y'all, man. I felt like I let y'all know how that shit is. Remember, I told y'all a few videos ago I was going to break it down to y'all and let y'all know about the time a female officer pulled a machete on me. Got my own knife turned on me, y'all. You feel me? And it wasn't even by another inmate. Y'all know how it is. Y'all see, oh, you rob someone for their gun and bust them with their own gun. You feel me? In movies, a bitch will be tussling with a gun and the other dude will grab that guy's gun and boom and bag him. Now you just got killed by your own gun. Them officer and that female officer act like she wanted to kill me with my own knife, bro. For real, dog. Shit's crazy, man, the way that shit works down here in the state of Florida. But anyways, man, I appreciate y'all watching this video. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one on up. Y'all can also catch me on my gaming channel, KFROG Gaming. About to do a major giveaway over there if y'all are interested. Y'all already know to hit that like button. You feel me? I'm going to keep vibing with y'all more frequently, like I said. I hope y'all been liking the content that I've been dropping. You feel me? I don't get no days off, you know, even when I'm not on here. Even when I'm not on here, man, I have so many other things going on. I'm a full-time daddy. I have 2 sons, you feel me? And I'm constantly doing shit. And I'm a single dad at that, you feel me? So, just bear with me. I'm glad y'all like the content. And y'all already know, man, we headed towards that 100K. Slowly but surely, we're going to get there. And one thing about it, Kfrogtv did it first. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all watching, like I said. I'm going to catch y'all next time. Keep them squares, rats, and clowns out your circle. And smile in their motherfucking face. Till next time, this Frog.